Welcome to the live!
Woo!
We are Fandom Fix and we are back for Marvel Monday again, and we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. So let's kick it off. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go right now.
These openings are getting better. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the channel. We appreciate you guys joining. Today, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about Hulk leaks. We're going to be talking about who Sadie Sink's character is, because we got some possible real images that leaked, and then we're going to be talking about just the connections to Avengers Doomsday. So last week, we talked about Avengers Doomsday and the footage that was shown at CinemaCon, and we talked about all kinds of stuff leading up to that. And Spider-Man Brand New Day is the next movie in the multiverse saga. With what Marvel's doing. So we got a lot of leaks to jump into, and not only leaks, but just some pretty high potential rumors that are actually going to be happening in this movie. So we're only about 2 months away, Ty, from this movie. It's in mid-July, I believe, or maybe it's the end of July. And so a lot is going to happen in this movie. I think it's probably going to possibly be the best Spider-Man yet, at least for Tom Holland. So you just want to jump right in to the Hulk leaks?
Yeah, I mean, so as you all know, well, you might not all know, there was a leak. As you do know, toys always are manufactured early on. So sometimes toys can kind of give us hints to what to expect in the movies. And this is no exception. In this situation, we actually had a leak of Hulk, but it's not Smart Hulk. Oh, perfect. So this is the Hulk that we're getting right here. And Austin, do you have the description of Hulk or anything like that to pull up?
For this movie?
I'm not sure if it shows it here. Um,
So this is the Forbes article that talks about Hulk being in it. So the leak of a toy has spoiled a major plot point. Character look in the movie. Hasbro has released what their Hulk figurine is going to look like. He's definitely not a cameo, but you can definitely tell that he's more Savage Hulk. In the past, we had gotten Smart Hulk. Obviously with Bruce kind of managing the symptoms of the Hulk gene in his body, and so we're finally, I think, getting back to this, which is the more like savage, uncontrollable Hulk. Which in the past Marvel movies, we've been kind of getting more of a tame version of Hulk. So I'm excited that we're getting this back, and it does look like with these webs that are attached to his toy, he's gonna be fighting Spider-Man.
yeah. So obviously we see in the trailer that Peter goes to Bruce Banner for um for help. And we know that they talk. We've seen him in the trailer. What we haven't seen is them fight, and clearly, like, we're gonna see Savage Hulk. Like, this is really, really cool. And we talked about in last week's Marvel Monday that, especially like in She-Hulk and in some of these later renditions of Hulk that we've gotten, we haven't gotten that like Savage Hulk that we've gotten in the past. Kind of that Edward Norton, that the Hulk that is just like super strong, crazy, go take care of business and like not really be able to complete full logical sentences sometimes.
Yeah.
But that leads me to another thing. And if you're paying attention here, there is a comic, and I can't, maybe we can find it at some point in this live, but there's a comic where essentially everyone forgets about Peter, right? So that like actually happens in the comics. They forget about him. However, when Bruce forgets, the Hulk remembers. And so there is a rumor out there that Hulk is going to remember who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
That spell didn't work for the Hulk because the Hulk is a separate being than Bruce. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde situation where one actually knows who he is and his identity, and the other one does not. So I think at one point they might be fighting, and then he's going to recognize him. He's going to like take his mask off or something like that, and he's going to recognize him. And he's going to be like, "Oh my gosh, you're Peter Parker. I know who you are." And maybe he's going to stop at that point. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I actually just pulled up the comic book panel right here. So, to Ty's point, for those of you that remember Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange obviously did the spell at the end. Nobody knows who Peter is, and so he's lonely in New York. You can definitely see from the trailers of Spider-Man: Brand New Day that Zendaya's character MJ, like she doesn't remember him. Neither does Ned. She's got a new boyfriend. Peter's super upset, and so this is possibly the way that we're going to get somebody, the first person that's going to know who Peter is, just like Ty alluded to. And I think it's very plausible because we obviously know that Savage Hulk is back. And that's different than what we got with Smart Hulk, who was more of a combined mind with Bruce Banner. And so, with this, the spell not happening when Hulk was in his Hulk form, or Bruce not in his Hulk form, then like most likely Bruce is going to, or Hulk is going to know who Peter is once he starts helping Peter figure out maybe like stuff with mutations and that kind of thing. So you can see right here with the comic book panel, says, "What are you doing, Peter?" "Oh, just giving you a big hug, man." And he said, "Wait, what did you call me? Did you just call me Peter? You made everyone forget who you are, Banner. Forgot, but I don't forget." And he was like, "Great, glad a rampaging monster knows my identity. No offense, none taken." So you can clearly see that they could be adapting off of this. This is a newer comic book storyline. Then it's not like an older one, but Marvel's pretty adept to adapting some of their newer stuff. I mean, we've seen that with like Ironheart and that kind of thing. They're adapting both the old and the new, and so I definitely think that we're getting uh, Bruce knowing that. And I think what's interesting, Ty, is that what do you think? Because I mean, we see in the trailers, we see that Peter goes to Bruce. Obviously, Bruce doesn't know who he is, and he starts asking him about mutations because Peter's kind of going through this mutation thing with his powers and that kind of thing. I'd imagine that Bruce is probably going, because he's pretty reckless, he's going to test that serum or whatever he does to help Peter. He's probably going to test it on himself, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably what's going to turn him into back to Savage Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that's going to be the situation. Peter's going to come to him and say, "Hey, I need you to figure this out. I need your help." And he's going to want to help, being the genius that he is. We just got Savage Hulk is so back. Thanks.
Thing right
That's my
here,
wife,
he's
by the
excited.
way. For those of you who don't know, that's my wife. Um, anyways, she loves me being a nerd. Tell you what, just like turns her on so hard, me being a nerd. Anyways,
Now you embarrassed her.
I just lost my train of thought. Um, anyways, no, I think that's what's gonna happen. And then I mean, obviously, this shows his lab coat. That looks to be like his lab coat in this
Yeah,
image. So clearly, like he was in his lab coat. It rips because he becomes Hulk, and then Spider-Man's gonna have to try to take him down. And that could be the point where he realizes, oh shoot, you're Peter. Um, oh yeah, this was the important part. It says there is a back of the box. Look as well, which has this description. Spider-Man is surprised to see Hulk again after so much time has passed, and he has no idea if Hulk will remember him. Will Hulk be friend or foe? I mean, we have the answer to that, though I would imagine he would come around at some point. But whether he's a huge part of the movie or just a one-off fight cameo, we don't know. I personally think he's a larger part of the movie than people are letting on.
yeah.
I think that he's going to be an integral part. I also think that potentially, I don't know if this is true or not, but, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but there are parts of the trailer that it looks like there's parts that are missing. Like they've CGI out or like removed potentially, like that one scene where Peter's like coming at I forget what's their names, the yeah. He's coming down, and there's like room for much more underneath. So we can get into that in a little bit. But any other thoughts about this situation? And we have a statement here too.
Yeah, so no, I think you're right. I mean, I think that Banner. I was actually looking for an image. I was gonna actually gonna pull up an image of Bruce in his college, in the college area from the trailer. But I mean, I definitely think that Bruce is going to be a bigger part. I mean, I think that with this mutation going on with Peter, I mean, who is he going to go to? He knows that Bruce is capable of understanding this stuff. I mean, Bruce obviously has like a huge understanding of mutations and just radiation and all that kind of stuff. And so it definitely seems like that's going to happen. I also think that we're going to get a lot of stuff with Dr. Connors. I know they didn't show him in the trailer, but Dr. Connors is very obviously known as the Lizard, the villain. It's probably going to be set up. And I think that with that being said, there's going to be a lot wrapped around the mutation thing. And it's probably what's going to lead, like I said, to Savage Hulk. Because at the end of the day, like the only reason he would be Savage Hulk again is if something went wrong, because Bruce had set up the ability to stay a smart Hulk, right?
Right, for sure. The one other thing that I'll add is that Mark Ruffalo is notorious for spoiling things. Like they've had to get onto him in the past for speaking when he shouldn't have spoken or said something they shouldn't have said. And he recently said in an interview that Spider-Man will be facing an alien soon, like this version of Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you read that or saw that, but like I don't know if we'll get hints um of that as well. Like, are we gonna get hints of the black suit? Like, are we gonna get the symbiote suit? You know, like, are we going to get a tease of Venom in this world for the first time? Like fully? That's
I think
another
we will.
question.
Yeah, I think we will. And let's jump into that in a little bit. But I wanted to go over these images because you can see from the trailer that Peter is coming to Bruce's class. He's obviously teaching a class in college. I can't really get a full sense on what this equation is that's going on in the back. It's obviously quantum physics. You can kind of tell by the way that like what it says up there with quantum, and then there's some stuff. So he's going. We're not exactly sure what's going on here. That's the end of it. So these are just the photos from the image. But I think Bruce, like, they're not going to have Mark Ruffalo come back and not be a big part. Um, and I think that this is going to be the way that bridges the gap for him to get back into the Avengers knowing who he is.
Hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
that's just my 2 cents. But
Yeah, so do you think that anyone else will figure out Peter Parker's identity in this Brand New Day film?
um, so I'm going to go off of S. Rose's question real quick because I think this contributes to the conversation. So, wonder if the memory includes all Peter Parkers we have seen in the multiverse or just Tom Holland. So, um, I don't think it involves the other Peters. I think it only involves Tom because he's the one that asked Strange to do it. But I also think that it doesn't include the other ones because they didn't remember who he wasn't going to remember. They weren't going to remember who he was at the end of No Way Home, and so I think they disappeared like right when the memory went away too. Like Andrew and Toby went back to their universe, and so. But I'd imagine I don't imagine they would remember who he was either. So I think that if somebody was going to find out again in this situation, it would be MJ and Ned. But part of me doesn't think that they're actually going to find out in this movie.
I don't think that she's gonna find out either. I think it would just like kind of ruin what happened in the last one if they just immediately let her find out again. And I think he's gonna go at lengths to try to protect um his secret identity
Yeah,
moving forward. So I don't think that they're gonna find out.
yeah, but I think they're going to have interactions with him because
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
do see that they're trying to understand who he is because there was a description or a clip that showed that Ned was curious about Spider-Man and wanted to know what his identity was because he
Hmm.
remembers that Spider-Man helped save them in high school. He just doesn't
Hmm.
know Peter.
Yeah.
So I definitely think we're going to get some stuff with that. But I agree with you. The character development that built up with there, it'd be weird to undo it after one movie. So I definitely, part of me doesn't think that he's going to be with Zendaya. Like I don't know if he's going to end up ultimately with that MJ.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering like is he gonna have a new love interest in this movie? Like obviously he still cares about her and like even in the posters like she's in one of the eyes like very reminiscent of the old Spider-Man posters and things like that.
Yeah.
So obviously he still cares about her, but I'm wondering if at some point we don't get like Black Cat or like something else, some other love interest for Spider-Man.
I would love to see Felicia, who's Black Cat. I would also love to see a newer version of Gwen Stacy. Um, I don't know if they would do that just because the Spider Verse is doing it with Miles. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll eventually bring Miles in and then do Spider Girl or Ghost Spider. Which is
Okay,
Gwen.
so that leads me to two questions actually that
Yeah.
I would like to talk about. And I don't know if we have anybody still watching, and maybe we wait, but I would like to do a poll at some point. Do we think that Ned is going to become Hobgoblin? Like, do we believe that Ned is going to go evil? Because there's a lot of rumors out there stating that they're setting him up to turn bad. So that's my first question. So maybe we'll start with that. What do you think about that?
Okay. Well, for those watching, spam one in the chat if you think Ned's turning into Hobgoblin. Spam two if you don't think he is. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, because there was some um we don't know if Harry is going like Harry is a character that we obviously haven't been introduced to in the MCU. We
Hmm.
were introduced to him in that animated Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show that came out last year or whenever it was.
Hmm.
Obviously, that was a different rendition on Norman and Harry Osborn. But I did actually some footage or some concept art actually came out this week or last week. I saw it on Instagram, but originally they weren't going to have Harry in that show. It was going to be Ned, even though it was a different
Mm.
universe. And so you can tell where they're toying with that whole idea. But part of me thinks that like this Zendaya, MJ, and Ned is their version of MJ and Harry. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think. I don't. I think it'd be. I think they've invested too much time in those characters to where we're not going to get Harry, and so possibly, yeah, we could see him being Norman Hobgoblin. But to me, Hobgoblin has to stem off of the Green
Green
Goblin,
Goblin. Right.
and Ned doesn't have any connection to Norman.
That's correct. However, they were teasing Ned's ability to be magical, and obviously he was able to do some magic in the last movie. So I am curious about that. Um, too, not in this movie, but maybe later. Yeah. So I mean, without knowing the fan theories behind it too. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I wonder if I could pull up the theory about Ned. Um,
that's been going on for a while though, Ty. I mean, like they've been people have been speculating that he could be Hobgoblin for a while, um, and maybe they just introduced Hobgoblin as the villain instead of Green Goblin. But Green has, I mean, Tom Holland has yet to go against Green Goblin outside of William Defoe's Tobey Maguire Green Goblin. So you'd imagine that he'd have to get his own. And
okay, I want to read this to you.
uh,
So I just want to. This is some information on Ned. So it says the theory that Ned Leeds will become a villain, specifically the Hobgoblin in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is one of the most persistent and compelling fan theories following Spider-Man No Way Home. This theory is built on comic book history, foreshadowing within the movies, and the emotional fallout of the last film. Here's the breakdown of the most compelling aspects of this theory. So, number one on this theory, the broken promise foreshadowing. So, in No Way Home, after learning that alternate universe best friends turned evil, Ned promises Peter, I promise you I won't turn into a supervillain and try to kill you. In superhero storytelling, such direct denial is often classic foreshadowing for that exact eventuality. So, that's number one. Within that, the memory wipe. So, because Doctor Strange erased everyone's memory of Peter Parker, Ned no longer remembers his friendship with Pete, nullifying the promise and emotional bond that kept him good. So that's one of the compelling arguments there. And then the color. So throughout No Way Home, Ned frequently wears yellow and blue clothing, colors historically associated with the Hobgoblin in Marvel Comics. And then the second compelling part is the magical potential. So Ned displayed surprising aptitude for mystical arts in No Way Home, successfully using Doctor Strange's sling ring without training. So he has magic in his family. He specifically mentions that magic runs in his family. So that explains his ability to open portals. And then
Yeah.
the future arc, this sets him up to potentially learn sorcery, possibly aligning with villains like Mordo, which matches the 2018 to 2022 comic storyline where Ned trains in magic. And then there's the comic book canon with a twist. So in the comics, Ned Leeds is the original Hobgoblin, or one of them, though he was brainwashed by the true villain Roderick Kingsley to serve as a decoy. So they could adapt him as being Hobgoblin, and then the tragic narrative arc. So this is number 4. Unlike previous villains who were outsiders, a villainous Ned would be a direct consequence of Peter's actions, using magic to fix his life, forcing Peter to face the consequence of his choices. Anyways, those are some compelling things. I don't know if that helped for anybody that's watching, but that's some of the things out there on Ned.
So I got some about this. Jacob, who plays Ned, he posted this last year, but it brought some fuel to the fire. He was in a comic book shop and he picked up the Hobgoblin toy. So
Yeah.
take that as what you will, but he's aware of it. He knows what people are saying.
For
So
sure.
there's potential that he could be Hobgoblin, or at least it would be pretty. I mean, it would be a tragic thing. And I mean, if they're not going to get his memory back anytime soon, then it would be an interesting plot point to turn a once good friend that doesn't remember his friend into the villain that Peter knows, and now Peter has to fight his friend that doesn't remember him.
Yeah, it
So
really could be.
it'd be pretty interesting.
It would be. Okay, so that leads me to my second question. And sorry, I'm kind of diverting us here because I know you have other things that we want to get to. But my second question is, you mentioned it for a second, and is Caleb McLaughlin gonna make an appearance in this movie? That's my question. For those of you who don't know, Caleb McLaughlin is Lucas Sinclair in Stranger Things. He also just played in The Goat. He was a voice actor for that, and he's super talented young guy. He already has that chemistry with Sadie Sink, by the way, who has been picked up. And we'll get into that later, speculations of who she is. But do we think, I personally think that Caleb McLaughlin's going to play Miles Morales. Like, I think that that's who he's going to be. We've even seen him training, doing cartwheels and flips and spins and all these acrobatics training. And they're like, what are you training for? And then recently, I think he even like toured something with Marvel. Didn't he do something recently with like Disney or Marvel, Austin?
Well, he visited the Sony headquarters
The
and
Sony headquarters. Yeah.
he met Phil Lord and Miles Miller, who did Spider-Verse movies, which obviously focused around Miles. So there's a lot of credence to the theory. I don't personally believe he's going to be in this movie. I think that would be too much. We already have Punisher. We already have Hulk. We already have the secret organization, the Hand. We already have crap. Why am I blanking? Oh, Scorpion as a villain, who they've been teasing since the very first Spider-Man: Homecoming. We have multiple other low-key villains in this as well, and ultimately, we don't know who the big bad is, but we would assume, based on the trailer, that it's going to be the Hand. Could be a bait and switch though, but we do know by Daredevil, Born Again season 2. I don't know if anybody's been watching this, but Jessica Jones just came back after a long hiatus from Marvel projects. She is back after we haven't seen her since her Netflix show and the crossover event, The Defenders, way back in the day before we've even got close to this point with Marvel. And they're building towards kind of this big Defenders reunion. The Hand was notoriously the main villain of the Defenders TV show, and you can definitely see with Wilson Fisk and everything he's building within Daredevil, they're definitely building towards something, and it's probably going to even connect to Valentina from the Thunderbolts because they've already name dropped her, And so most likely the Hand is the main villain. So I don't think Miles is it. I think that they're going to save Miles until Tom is ready to go. Because Tom and Zendaya, they've like notoriously spoken about how they want to raise a family and kind of quietly stop acting after a while. I think once Tom does a couple more Spider-Mans, he finishes off this run with the Avengers, I think we're going to get the baton passed with them setting up a kind of a new MCU with younger cast with like a new X-Men and maybe the Young Avengers, and then we're going to get Miles being the new Spider-Man, which would make sense for him to come under Tom's wing, him kind of train him. But I don't know. I mean, we could get Miles sooner than later. Maybe we might even get Miles in Secret Wars. I mean, Miles is in the Secret Wars comic book storyline.
So my other theory, because we just got a tease for another Spider-Verse movie, like Sony teased it.
Yep.
People have been wondering about it. They've been like, all right, when is it coming? When is it coming? There is some speculation out there that they will put part of this as live action for this next one because of all the different Spider-Verses. So could we see a situation where Caleb McLaughlin plays the live action version of Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse movies and gets transported into like live action MCU Peter Parker and like it all tie in that way? I don't know. That could be a stretch, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's fully possible. I mean, I don't know who's seen Spider Verse. I would imagine if you're on this stream, you've probably seen it. But Spider Verse in the second one, you see a bunch of different variants of Peter, and you
Mhm.
also see a bunch of different variants of um, the Prowler, his uncle. And one of the variants of the Prowler is live action Prowler, and it was Donald Glover.
Mhm.
We've already seen a live action version of a character in Spider Verse, so I don't think that's too far fetched.
Yeah.
At least for a tease. Because if Caleb was already on Sony grounds talking to Phil and Miles, who conveniently also did his movie The Goats, they know him well. They probably shoved him into the Spider Verse production for a day for like a 1 day shoot. So which is going
Yeah.
to tease for whatever they do in the future. So yeah, I
Okay.
definitely agree. Let me know in the comments if you think that Caleb is going to show up as Miles, or Miles is going to show up in general, even if it's not Caleb. So
Okay. I want to play a quick game before we get into who we think Sadie Sink is.
okay,
Is that
let's do it.
okay?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So here's the game. We're going to play a game where you respond with one or two, or actually just yes or no. Probably easier instead of remembering one and two. Of do you think this person is going to show up in Brand New Day? Okay.
Okay.
So, question number one, Luke Cage.
Wow. Am I supposed to answer?
Yes or no?
You mean to answer?
You can give your answer, and then if anybody wants to comment whether they think Luke Cage is going to be in it.
All right. Well, we can count on S. Rose and Meg. Hopefully, they remember who Luke Cage is. Well, we know Luke Cage came back for. Well, they're already filming Daredevil season 3, and he's back.
Right. So, okay. So Luke Cage is the first one. So yes or no on Luke Cage. Go ahead, Austin. You can give me your answer.
I don't think so.
Okay. So no for Luke Cage. Jessica Jones.
It's highly possible.
Possible. Okay. So he's giving a possible. That's not an answer though. Yes or no?
Well, you know what? I actually see if Jessica's in it, then Luke has to be in it.
Right. Is Iron Fist in it?
It would be a genius move to put the Defenders in Spider-Man, at least for one thing, against the Hand
Mm-hmm.
with Daredevil. Because a movie of that caliber and that many people going to see it would get people back into the view of who they are, which would elevate Daredevil season 3 for them.
Exactly. So are we going to get Daredevil in this movie?
I think Daredevil is the most plausible, so yes.
Okay. Are we getting Wilson Fisk?
Probably a tease. And you know
Okay.
why I say there's a tease? Because we see in the trailer for actually I'm gonna pull this up. We see in the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, the new mayor of New York um, is Wilson Fisk's right hand lady. I don't remember her name. But she in Daredevil is Wilson Fisk's right hand person.
Hmm.
And she's giving Spider-Man the key to the city. So that obviously brings us to the fact that Wilson is probably not going to be mayor by the end of Daredevil season 2, which is, if you've been watching that, you kind of get a sense of that's happening. But here, right here, Spider-Man's getting the key to the city. This woman right here, she is the new mayor, and she was working under the Fisk administration. So we would at least get a mention of Fisk, I'd imagine. Even the Punisher might mention Fisk or the events of Daredevil Born Again,
Mm.
because we haven't seen Punisher since the end of Daredevil Born Again season 1, and he's about to get his own movie, which will probably lead into what he's doing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. For those of you that didn't know that, we're getting like a mini movie on Disney Plus in May. That's Punisher.
Which I'm super pumped for.
Yeah.
That's really, really exciting.
Well, we
I
got
just want
some.
to say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we got some comments, so if you want to read them.
I'm leaning no to all of those folks. I think they'll stay on TV for a little while longer. Okay. Jessica, maybe given the most recent episode of Daredevil, I can't say anything for the rest of the Defenders. Anything else? Okay. Daredevil is most likely all of them, as he has already appeared in a cameo. Okay. I doubt we will get Fisk. All
Oh,
right.
thanks, Meg. Her name is Sheila, I believe. Yeah, I think you're right. I appreciate that.
So here's my thought. I think we're going to get a cameo of the Defenders. I think that they are in that shot where he's coming out of the hand.
How about we just how about we just pull up the shot, because we were gonna get to this anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves.
No, you're good. Keep talking. I'll
But
pull it up.
I think that that's where we're going to get them. They're going to show up in a time of need and say like, "Hey, we fought these people before. Um and let's go to war." And I think we could get a shot. I mean, look at that. Look, there's so much space underneath them where there's nobody. And we said this in No Way Home when there was two other Spider-Mans clearly, and they're like, "Oh no, there's only one." We knew. This is the same situation. There is more to be than meets the eye in this image. There are clearly photoshopped out people underneath Spider-Man, in my humble opinion. Now, whether that's Daredevil, whether that's Punisher Daredevil, whether that's Hulk Punisher Daredevil, whether that's the Defenders, there is somebody underneath him going at them as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, my mind immediately goes to Hulk, because if Banner is going to be a full focus point for Peter, if he's going to become Savage Hulk, and then to our theory, remember that that's Peter, and then they kind of grow up again, then they're most likely going to go against the major threat that is happening. Which, based on the trailers, again, Marvel does a lot of bait and switching. Based on the trailers, the Hand is seen several times, which would most likely bring us to believe that they are the main villain. Now, obviously we're going to get a lot of different plot points, because this is the first time Peter is actually in New York on his own. He's out of high school. He's probably working for the Daily Planet or some form of that. I'd imagine we're going to see J. Jonah Jameson. And so we're going to get a lot of probably like montages of Spider-Man doing his thing like on his own. And then the story is going to emerge from there. We do know Peter is mutating in some form or fashion. But my mind goes immediately to Hulk. We do see the Punisher too, but I don't know if Punisher is just a short part of the film. Part of me thinks he's a short part of the film, but he's a bigger part of the film if our Sadie Sink leaks are true, which we'll get into. But this does give, I mean, this whole shot is a reason to believe the Defenders, or at least Daredevil's in it. Because why would you bring back the Hand after the Defenders thought they killed them and Daredevil almost died and Elektra died? trying to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you bring them back without bringing back the people who were trying to defeat them in the first place? I didn't. The thing is that we haven't seen anything with Spider-Man and Daredevil other than that one scene where Matt in Spider-Man: No Way Home, Matt was trying to defend Peter on trial, and so based off of that, they know each other, but
Not
because they're
anymore.
oh, that's right, not anymore. You're right. Well, obviously Peter has heard of Daredevil. I mean, there's just no way that he hasn't because he's been around during the events of Daredevil Born Again, which obviously also begs the question of why is Spider-Man not getting involved in the mayor of New York's rampage?
Yeah, there's great questions, and that's what makes me kind of frustrated about not ever having this Spider-Man face off against Wilson Fisk. Like I get Wilson, being the Kingpin being an integral part in Daredevil. I get it. But he's also an integral part in Spider-Man. And so it's like, I don't know, like why haven't we got that yet? I would love to see. Well, I mean, dude, we still haven't got the Sinister Six. Like I mean, there's so much things that we could get and I hope that we'll get in these more grounded Spider-Man movies. This is going to be the closest thing to a grounded MCU Spider-Man that we've ever gotten.
Well, the thing is, they've never given Tom Holland his own solid movie. He's always had a bigger hero. Well, I don't know about bigger, but he's always had
Iron Man in the first one.
Yeah, Iron Man in the first one. He had, well, I guess, let's see. There was Homecoming, Iron Man. Then you had Far From Home, which involved Iron Man as a storyline because of Stark Tech. So it still involved the bigger thing. You had Far From Home, or No Way Home, which involved Doctor Strange and other Peters. And then he's been in all the Avengers movies, including Civil War. And so Peter's never really been on his own like we used to see him.
Yeah.
And so we're finally getting that to some extent, but we're not even getting that because Banner's in it, Punisher's in it, possibly Daredevil.
Yeah, so he's still not alone.
So he's still not alone. But I think that the way that they've incorporated Peter into all that has been pretty interesting. And so I think that they're going to slowly probably build this up to be for whatever trilogy they're building, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be another trilogy. They're going to build this up into him being his own protector of New York type situation, which will probably get us Venom, probably get us Sinister Six. I'd imagine Fisk is eventually going to be put into this. There's no way if this shot right here involves the Defenders or at least Daredevil, that Fisk will not interact with Spider-Man at least once coming up.
I think it would be a huge miss if Marvel doesn't have them interact, for sure.
Yeah, because the animated series that we all grew up with in the 90s, like Kingpin was like the main dude for him.
Yeah, I know.
And Daredevil helped him in a couple episodes.
Right. So it's like, why haven't we seen it? That's okay. I mean, there's going to be a lot of great things about this movie. I'm actually really excited about this movie. I think this could potentially be the best Spider-Man that we've ever had with this new Spider-Man with Tom Holland. I'm not saying ever because it's going to be hard to beat Doc Ock and Toby. That's going to be hard to beat. I mean, those first two Spider-Mans from Tobey Maguire were really, really good. And I honestly, hot take of the night, I like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans as well.
Yeah, they're good.
They're not as good as Toby for me, because that was also my childhood. But yeah, dude, I think this could be the best Spider-Man yet. And Tom Holland has proven his worth because he's made it longer than any other Spider-Man has, any other Spider-Man actor. So
yeah,
kudos to him.
So Meggie Rose, can they do Sinister Six if Mysterio is assumed dead and Craven movie was questionably canon? Yeah, it's a good question. So Mysterio is dead for sure. Craven movie, yeah, I think there's a gray area there because obviously Sony and Marvel Studios has been working closely together to keep Spider-Man. But I thought I read the other day that they were going to kind of officially just like merge everything, which is probably why we're getting Venom, or at least the tease of Venom. But I personally don't believe that the Venom we're getting in this, if that even happens, is Tom Hardy. because
No, he's done.
he's done, and that portion of him, the symbiote, stayed in the universe that we all know and love, and then he went back, and then they had Venom 3, which was terrible.
So
Um,
bad. So bad.
they progressively got worse. But so yeah, I think that I don't know because I mean you had that's questionable canon is a good way to put this because you saw in Morbius, which if you watch that movie, I'm really sorry, just as much as I'm sorry I watched it. But at the end of that movie, Michael Keaton's Vulture shows up,
Yeah, so weird, dude.
and like it doesn't make any sense. So like maybe they're just gonna like forget about all that. But I'd imagine that Vulture is still if they bring back Michael Keaton, it would make sense. I mean, like to squander that, Michael Keaton's the best. So they should. He's the one that kind of recruited Scorpion, or at least told Scorpion
Yeah.
about what was going on when he was in prison. That was the post-credit scene of Spider-Man: Homecoming. And so I don't know. I think that we don't have Mysterio, but we can still have Doc Ock. We can still have a Green Goblin or a Hobgoblin.
What about Electro?
We could definitely still have an Electro. We're getting Scorpion, so there's that.
Mhm.
Craven could be um, the same one as the movie, but I don't know if they would do that. So yeah, it's up in the air. I think it's a big question mark. I enjoy Craven, but Morbius needed help. Yeah, honestly, Craven. Ty, you, me, and Roman went and saw Craven. Craven was probably the best one out of those like Sony villain movies.
Yeah, I didn't mind Craven. Like I thought it was not as bad as the other ones for sure. Like
Yeah.
Morbius was terrible. It was
Oh,
so bad.
Morbius was trash.
I
Yeah.
mean, I wanted to like it, and it was just so bad.
Which the thing about Morbius too is that I mean, again, like animated Spider-Man '90s, Morbius, all those characters were in there, and I think that they squandered the ability to expand on those characters by making those movies that were individual without Spider-Man included.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And so they'd have to. I mean, what's his name? What's the guy's name that plays Morbius? I should know this.
Jared Leto.
Thank you, Jared Leto. Jared Leto is bad at everything he does, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's a vampire and he's part of the Illuminati, so he gets to be in any movie he wants, and
that's
be
why
popular.
he acts like a vampire.
Yeah.
Okay, Ty, let's jump into the Sadie Sink stuff.
Okay.
Because I think the Sadie Sink stuff is probably second of importance with the leaks and the rumors, aside from Hulk. Because the big question is that like, why is Sadie Sink in this movie? A lot of people have thought she was Jean Grey. A lot of people, including myself at one point. I don't know if she is Jean Grey, but there's this new post that's been going around this week. And again, take this with a grain of salt, everybody. Forbes even did an article on this. That this potentially is AI, and it even brings more credence to the fact that this image that I'm pulling up on the screen is a little blurry. I can't find an image that's not blurry or a little grainy. But as you can see here, Sadie Sink is standing next to the Punisher, and she's wearing the same outfit that we see her wearing in the trailer, or at least we've seen on behind the scenes set images. The only thing we see in the trailer is the back of her with a hood on, and she's raising her hands, which there's something going on in the trailer where we see like some mind control stuff, which is why people think that she's Jean Grey. But this look, and she's with the Punisher. Why would she be Jean Grey if she's with? Why would she be Jean Grey if she's with the Punisher? That doesn't really make any sense to me. A lot of people think that she's Rachel Cole Ives, which I personally am not familiar with that character, but in the comics, she's basically the Punisher's sidekick. So, but I think the bigger question here is, I mean, well, so Ty, what do you think of this? I mean, do you think that she would be a character like this that nobody knows?
So there's two compelling theories. I wanted to read both of these because, and then maybe she's not, but at one point we thought she could be Mayday Parker. We don't think that anymore. and then we both thought that she was Jean Grey, which I am still of the belief that she's Jean Grey. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay.
I think she's Jean Grey. I want to read this to you. It says that her apparent mind control abilities shown in the trailer is confirmation she'll return in Avengers Secret Wars, and her red hair have all pointed fans towards Jean Grey. The secrecy itself is being used as evidence. Marvel still hasn't revealed who she's playing, even after the trailer dropped, and the argument is that a lower profile character would have been confirmed already. The
Right.
trailer angle that's fueling it is that there's a shot during a fight scene when men appear to have their necks snapped by an unseen force. The implication is Peter's evolving powers, but fans think it's far more likely a mutant with telekinesis. So that's a lot of people are speculating that she's Jean Grey. But there's another speculation, and I don't know if you've heard this one, Austin, but Typhoid Mary. So that one's gaining traction, and that is that Sink is playing Typhoid Mary, which is historically a Daredevil and Spider-Man antagonist, often employed by Kingpin, which would
Okay.
fit the street level story of the film better than a cosmic level X-Men character. So a recently circulated leaked photo of Sink next to the Punisher, like you just said, reignited this debate due to visual similarities in her look. So
Yeah, I mean, she did the mind control thing is what's throwing me off because the trailer we saw, we do see that there's some mind control associated with her, unless it's just a ruse. And again, we don't know if this image is true. And there's been a
mm,
lot of different like images out there that we don't know. They could be AI. Unfortunately, we're in a world of AI where we don't know fully what is real and what's not. This hasn't been like officially released by Marvel. Marvel hasn't even actually released any official images of Sadie Sink. None of the footage has even showed the front of her. And so that that makes me believe that she is somebody high profile rather than Rachel Cole Ives. I mean, like most people don't even know who she is unless you read a comic book, and I don't think they would do that. But it's interesting to me that Jean Grey would associate with Punisher or at least be against Spider-Man, unless there's something going on with the new X-Men that we are not privy to. I mean, like the X-Men have been known to do whatever it takes to protect themselves.
yeah, I mean, and they're gearing up. Like the next phase of the MCU is going to be the X-Men phase. Like it's going to be the X-Men saga. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to get a lot of young actors like Sadie to be playing these X-Men characters in the next phase after Secret Wars, when they soft reboot the MCU. So, I mean, she could be in hiding, she could be trying to protect herself. I don't know. I don't
So I'm
know.
gonna pull up this Forbes article that actually is the first thing I saw about this news. So I scrolled down on the article because Forbes talks about the image, talks about Jean Grey. So many leakers are starting to confirm that whatever's going on with this picture, that yes, it's almost certainly Jean Grey. And for a long while now, this is the only answer that makes sense, all for two reasons. Why on earth would Marvel hide this for any other reason than this being a very big character reveal? They wouldn't even show her in the trailer, which is what I said, only giving us a glimpse of her clearly psychic powers. Marvel's not going to hide that Rachel Cole Ives, someone 99% of moviegoers don't know, nor Typhoid Mary, a lesser villain that we've never seen in past Spider-Man movie universe. They would hide Jean Grey. Two, we know that Sadie Sink and her character are returning for Secret Wars, the second Avengers movie that will kick off a new MCU era in full, and without question will be the first introduction to the least as some of the new X-Men that we're about to see explored in the next phase. Again, the only rumored character that would make sense to transfer to film via Sync is Jean Grey. So I think that is a very compelling from Forbes. I think that's what most people are saying because at the end of the day, Sadie Sink is a very high up and coming actress. She is honestly, I would argue, the best actor out of all the kids in Stranger Things. She's my second favorite character in Stranger Things, other than Dustin, and I think she can go way farther than any of them. And so you hire somebody like that. I don't think you're going to obviously sign multi-picture deals. We do know she's in Secret Wars. So to me, Rachel Cole Ives and Typhoid Mary would not be in Secret Wars because
Agreed.
why would they be?
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm pretty certain she's Jean Grey. Like, I don't think there's any other character she could be.
so she's got to be Jean Grey. So the
Yeah.
question is, why are they including Jean Grey in this? So, chat, let me know what you guys think. Oh, Legendary Link, what's up, buddy? You are back. Um, if she is Jean Grey, she could be on a collision course to being manipulated by Doctor Doom, a secondary villain in Secret Wars. Yeah, that's a high possibility. We do know that Doom is probably manipulating Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and we do know that there's been some rumors that Doom is going to have a kind of a bunch of like cultists that are going to be like like followers of him, like acolytes. In the comics, there is well-known acolytes that one of them is Wanda. So Doom could be using characters like that. So that makes sense. Hey Ty, Legendary Link has been on the streams with me and Jonathan for Mario Mondays. So
let's go.
So welcome back.
Welcome back, dude.
Okay, I'm going back. Maggie Rose, I beg to differ. Go watch The Little Things. Jared Leto did well on that. Yeah, I didn't watch that thing. I didn't watch that. That's the one with Denzel Washington, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. I think so. Legendary Link. What else you got? Is Spider-Man going to break the memory spell on Ned? And what's her face? Zendaya. Yeah, we talked about that. I don't know how long you've been on the stream, but we talked about that potentially he's not going to. I'd imagine he would try to keep them safe, so he's not going to tell them. To me, it would be weird for them not to. To me, it'd be weird for them to break a spell after one movie.
Yeah.
I feel like the consequences of that have to last longer.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be way more adamant about keeping his identity under wraps. But Legendary Link, you also missed us talking about Hulk knowing who Peter Parker is and that Banner will not know. There's a comic that we went over earlier on in the live where Banner does not recognize who Peter Parker is, but the Hulk remembers. And so we think that there's going to be a situation where we get Savage Hulk in this movie, and he's going to remember eventually who Peter Parker is, and that spell's not going to work on him. So it'll be like the one person in the world that actually knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yeah. Ty, I want to pull up this image, and this isn't a real image, guys, but I just think it's super cool. Oh, thanks, Meg. Yeah, it's Denzel Washington and Rami. That's right. This image is of Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, and it's super cool. It's just a fan-made image, but I don't know why my thing is lagging. You guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
So this potentially could be what we get from Sadie Sink. Super cool. So I mean, like, to me, she looks the part as a young Jean Grey.
Yeah.
We're getting X-Men 90. We've gotten X-Men 97, and the second season is actually dropping this summer. Which I don't think you ever watched that, Ty, did you?
I never got to watch it. I never got around to watching it. So that's something I need to go watch.
So X-Men 97, continuation of the original show. But they obviously prominently are Jean Grey and Cyclops Scott are in that. And we're getting Scott, James Marsden in Doomsday. So I imagine I think we're going to get a comic book accurate Cyclops and Jean. And so I think Sadie could pull that off. And what an interesting way to bring her into the universe via Spider-Man. I kind of like how the MCU is bringing well-known characters into the universe in unorthodox ways.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting way, but I genuinely believe that's who it is. She's definitely got the acting chops. Like you said, she was a great actor in Stranger Things, probably the best one. Her and Dusty Buns, were top tier. And Caleb McLaughlin, I liked him a lot too as an actor. I thought he did a good job. Him and Sadie had good chemistry.
Yeah, they really kind of found their own, and towards the end, I think they all got better.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, so Jean Grey for sure. I think this movie actually is going to pack a bigger punch than we think it is. I think with all the leaks on what Hulk's going to look like, Punisher's in it, all these villains are in it. I think they're building towards something, and I'd imagine we're gonna know kind of how New York's gonna be by the end of Daredevil Born Again season 2, and we'll probably also we're obviously gonna know what happens to Frank, who's the Punisher, from this movie, One Last Shot, that's coming out in May. And so I'm curious to see if those movies give us any hints towards what's going to be in Spider-Man. But
Mhm.
I actually think Spider-Man, just like Spider-Man helped launch like the Civil War stuff, uh, I mean, like a lot of stuff with Tony. I think this Spider-Man actually is going to help launch the next phase of Marvel movies because I don't think Tom Holland's going anywhere after Secret Wars.
No, no. I think he signed another three film. Well, I guess if he signed on for at least three more Spider-Man films. Um, so yeah, I think we got him for a while.
Yeah. Was Ty? Was that all the news that we were going to go over? I know we had Hulk, we had Sadie Sink, we were talking about the Daredevil.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about is the post-credit scene that I believe we are going to get in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. But before we do that, let's see what Link has to say. Time travel with Captain America seems to be a big part of the movie. What if this is a young Jean Grey from the past? Yeah, I mean, that is not a bad thought. We're definitely going to get more ramifications and implications from Steve Rogers doing what Steve Rogers did, which was the first ever selfish act in the history of Steve Rogers going back to Peggy and messing up the timeline. He obviously created a lot of incursions unknowingly, and that's why he's coming back for Doomsday.
Yeah,
So, you know, time travel is definitely going to be a big part. We talked about this in our live last week with Endgame adding some deleted scenes and adding some additional new scenes that will tie in directly to Doomsday. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, this could be I mean, it's definitely a younger Jean Grey just because of Sadie Sink's age. So we're definitely getting a younger Jean Grey. Um,
I don't know if we're. I personally don't believe that though. This is a Jean Grey from the past or like a time travel element with the X Men because we haven't
no,
seen. I understand your point, Link, though, because I mean, Captain America obviously is in the past. There's going to be some elements where the gang has to go back to that time to get Cap because the multiverse plays a big part. I mean, obviously that's why we're going to be getting the original X Men from their world, possibly Toby again, Spider Man. So I just think that this is their way of introducing the new X Men into the main timeline because we've seen um, hints at mutations leading up to this, and so there's been comments about people being mutants, right? I know like Namor, um, the king of the Atlantis or whatever that kingdom is underwater in Wakanda forever. Um, Forgive me that I don't know that because I'm not familiar with that character as much, but um, Namor was considered a mutant. I think they said that
mhm.
in the movie,
He
and
was
then
the
there's
first mutant in the MCU, technically.
right. And so there's been other things hinting towards mutants, and I can't name them all, but there's been things in the shows and that kind of thing that they've mentioned that. So mutants have been around, but I think that mutations are a result of something that happened in the Infinity Saga, potentially something to do with Thanos and the snap.
Hmm, it's
Because
possible.
if no, then why? Cause like why would we start seeing mutations now if that wasn't the case? So I think the X Men. I think that's why we're starting to get that. So I'd imagine Jean Grey is just Jean Grey, but I wouldn't be shocked if Captain America had something to do with um, like all this stuff in terms.
Yeah,
He probably saw a lot when he took the stones back.
for sure. Um, but yeah, my speculation was that um, Doctor Doom's going to show up at the end of Brand New Day, potentially to recruit Peter, like, and he's probably going to act like Tony Stark. That's my guess. I think that he is going to act like a resurrected or alternate version of Tony Stark. Um, I think he's going to show up to Peter, and Peter's going to be like, "What, Mr. Stark?" Like he's going to like be like Mr. Stark, and then it's going to like cut. You know? and then we're gonna get more of that obviously later on. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think we're gonna get Doom in a post-credit scene?
Yeah, I do. I think that we're going to get something to where, I mean, obviously we know that Tony and Peter's relationship is special. And so I think that with that being said, what better way to bring Peter into the major fold with Doomsday and trick some of our main heroes by starting with Peter, right? I mean, especially because Peter is probably going to be like, well, what the crap? Like, Stark, I thought you were dead. He's going to pose as that. And then he's also going to be like, hey, like, I actually wasn't affected by the spell because Doom clearly knows about what Doctor Strange did. And so it's going to really confuse him. It's really going to throw him off. And even potentially recruit Peter to help with some stuff, which Peter could, obviously he's going to probably realize it eventually. But I think, I think it's very plausible.
Yeah. And then last
Uh,
thing that I'll
I
mention.
do have a.
What were you
Sorry,
gonna say?
are you? Were you gonna? I was gonna actually pull up this article. Um, so sorry for cutting you off. I
No,
was
it's
actually
okay.
gonna pull up this article that references potentially what is going to be in the post-credit scene. So this is an article that's on. Can you still hear me, Ty?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was lagging for a second. So this is an article that was on Yahoo Entertainment via Superhero Hype. So Spider-Man Brand New Day's post-credit scene ties into Disney Plus show, according to the report. So again, this is grain of salt, but we do have some stuff to go off of. Latest MCU rumor comes from Majestic UCM on X, who claimed that Spider-Man Brand New Day's post-credit scene will reportedly be very much tied to Daredevil Born Again Season 3. It is expected to be set before the events of Avengers Doomsday. This comes ahead of Disney Plus premiere of Daredevil Season 2. The third season will likely be set before the events of Doomsday. I've heard it might include a post-credit scene or season finale. It's very much tied to the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Brand New Day, which makes a lot of sense. A direct attack on New York City leading. I don't know if there's another. Let me see if there's something that connects to this. But this is kind of showing that we're probably potentially going to be getting a lot of stuff that happens before Doomsday, and they're currently filming Daredevil Born Again Season 2, or Season 3. So it would be interesting if all that happened before Doomsday, because there's obviously a lot of stuff happening street level, right? With
Are we getting a third season before Doomsday?
I don't think it's coming out before Doomsday, but I definitely think that
Filming it?
Yeah, I think they're definitely filming it. So for some reason this link won't pull up, so maybe we'll just go off of this. But yeah, so essentially, I also did. So this is interesting, and again, take this with a grain of salt. But this is I just typed into Google Brand New Day end credits, and we're getting some interesting information here. This is obviously just the AI overview, but it's pulling from different sources. This is saying the post-credit scene is heavily tied to Daredevil Season 3 and Avengers Doomsday. Rumored scenes include a direct link to Multiverse Saga with potential appearances by Peter Parker and Hulk dealing with an incursion, setting up Avengers Secret Wars. Other reports suggest a focus on street-level consequences, contrasting with the cosmic-level threats. And then fan speculation on Reddit includes the symbiote from No Way Home. So I think there's a lot of things that could happen with that. We're clear. I think it's most likely we're going to be getting a connection to Doomsday with not Tony, but obviously Doom that looks like Tony. And so I think that's what's going to happen. It would be interesting though if we got them experiencing an incursion, like Hulk and Peter at the end of a street level thing. It just would be kind of confusing to me how they would pull that off, considering they're setting up some of the street level stuff with Daredevil, the Hand, the Defenders. So it would beg the question of like, does that actually take place before? Even if it comes out after Doomsday, would it take place before Doomsday? So my biggest hope is that we're going to get a direct connection to Doomsday, because you and I talked about in another video the rumors that the movie opens up with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man experiencing an incursion on his world, and then he's fighting the X-Men,
Which would be sick.
Legendary Link, they're going to be the first 2 people to see Doctor Doom. Yeah, and they were the closest with Stark. Yeah, you're not wrong. Bruce Banner was really close with Stark too.
Very good points. Very good points. So it would make sense for them to see that.
I think Captain America is going to remember Peter because of time travel. True. Yeah, they're the kids from Brooklyn, or the kids from New York.
Yeah, those are all good theories. Last question before we wrap up. So with Peter's mutation, are we going to get organic webs? We no longer need web shooters.
I think that's confirmed.
That's confirmed?
Yeah, I actually think that's confirmed. I actually think that's part of the mutation. Because there's some toys and stuff that came out that show that he's not using the web shooters anymore.
Nice.
So I actually think that's happening. Just like
I didn't know if that was confirmed. Sweet.
Yeah, I think that's one of the first things that was confirmed.
Cool.
So
that's all I had.
Well, cool. Yeah, guys, if you have any more questions, shoot them in the chat real quick. If not, we are going to be talking much more coming up about this movie. As we get closer, we're going to probably get more leaks and rumors that are happening. But for those of you that have been joining our lives, me and Ty are probably going to be doing Marvel stuff for the foreseeable future on Mondays. We love Mario Mondays on this channel, and we want to continue to do that in the future. But there hasn't been a lot of Mario stuff and Nintendo stuff going on, at least the past couple of weeks. And so we'll definitely get back to that. I know Legendary Link, you're a big fan of that, and there's some Zelda stuff on the horizon. So just expect that these lives, stay tuned to our channel. We'll be messaging out when we're doing different things, but these lives are probably going to fluidly go into more of just focus on what's happening at the time, the stuff that's kind of trending around the fandoms with Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Nintendo, that kind of thing. And so this will be kind of our Monday night show that we're going to be doing. So we're always going to be doing Monday nights, but it's probably going to just depend on what the topic is. So stay tuned for that as we continue to get going. S Rose, I don't know what that. I think it's supposed to be an emoji, but for some reason it's not showing up.
She's doing this emoji right here.
Oh, is he? You can see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's not showing up online. That's weird.
Here we go. This is for you guys. To all of you that stuck around for this 1 hour and 7-minute live, I want to thank you, the people that stuck around, that are here now watching. And for those of you that will tune in after this goes live on our channel and watch it later, thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for subscribing to Fandom Fix. This is just the beginning, folks. All right, that's all I have.
If you guys can please like this video. I only see that one of you have. So
yeah, please.
Six of you are left right now, but please like this video for us because it definitely helps with getting our videos out there. So we appreciate you guys joining. Stay tuned. You are part of the Avengers assembling for the foreseeable future. Well, we appreciate you guys joining, engaging with us. Much more to come. See you guys in the next video.